work with this. Not exactly this, because this is not a cock, this is a hen. And today we're gonna do a dish called Tarteletter. And it's a crazy word because no one really knows exactly what it means. This is actually just a small baked puff pastry shell with a chicken and a white sauce, a sauce velouté. Some would maybe preferably call it like a velouté, a fricassé maybe, or stew. I'll prefer stew. Stew is a better word for that. And as the recipe goes, it's all Danish grandmas, mothers, fathers, persons have their favorite kind of tartlet. And today we're gonna do, of course, the best one, because that's my grandmother's. And it's very, very, very simple. It's a classic. And we'll do one pretty classic one, and then we'll do maybe not a new one, but you know, a thing where we have a little more vegetables in. Because if you get a classic tartelet in Denmark, the vegetables are not that represented in the dish. And actually, as we're filming here in April, I guess, we're in the season of everything starting to grow here in Denmark. And we got asparagus. And we're gonna use some asparagus. Actually, tartelet is a combination of two dishes. The tartelet, which is, I'll show you in a minute, and then a dish called høns i asparges, which just means chicken with asparagus in a white sauce. Chicken asparagus stew. And right now, at this moment, this season, we got fresh white asparagus, so we're definitely gonna use that. It would be completely stupid not to utilize that fantastic produce, Danish produce, in this dish. But I'll show you how my grandmother did, and that was absolutely not with fresh Danish white asparagus. That was something else. But let me grab some of the things that we're gonna use today. Ladies and gentlemen, so this is what it's all about. Actually, this is what it's all about. If you are living in Denmark, or if you're new in Denmark, welcome. Thank you for being here. This is the word tarteletter. And these are luxury tartlets. Luxus means luxury. You know, if I read what was, you know, the ingredients of these, I would be like, ain't gonna happen. But there's something about that taste that, because originally this will be made with great Danish flour, great Danish butter, and it would have the taste of those two components as the main ones. These are made with some kind of flour and absolutely not some kind of butter. This is, yeah, vegetarian, which is great for something, for a lot of things. When you use a product like margarine, you will get, how should I put this without being just an annoying prick? It would be, you would be pleasantly surprised if you had something with margarine where you're thinking afterwards, oh my God, my taste buds, they're exploding. This is a new palette of kind of fat that I haven't known about, you know. And these pre-made tartlets, they will definitely contain the margarine, and therefore they will contain the taste. So you better get your fucking act together and make a really, really nice stew. And for that, you will need a chicken, and of course you'll need the white asparagus. And in terms of pre-made things, this is what my grandmother would be using. These are preserved white asparagus, so they are maybe they're from 98, I don't know. Maybe, I don't. This is also an element, a taste element of the classical Danish tartlet that my grandmother made. Because she would use, of course, the asparagus, but she would also use the water that they were preserved in. And that's a strange kind of memory in terms of what asparagus should taste of. But they're in it. So we have these two prefab things that we're doing in the classical tartlet. In our modern, more crazy tartelet, it's not crazy, it's just we'll be using the fresh white asparagus, and we'll be using a bit of celeriac, and we'll be using a little of parsnip and some mushrooms. The most important thing is the poultry. A lot of these things we're going to add into the new tartelet, the model, are we also going to use to make a broth with. And for that broth, bouillon, call it what you want, it's going to be a light one. We're going to use the celeriac, we're going to use onions, we're going to use a bit of leeks, we're going to use a carrot, some parsnips, some garlic, some thyme. It's just a plain, nothing crazy. Nothing like, ooh, we're gonna bring all kinds of different layers of strange new things, new Nordic things. We're just gonna do a plain old chicken soup, Danish chicken soup. We're gonna clarify it a bit. It's not gonna be like a consomme, it's gonna be like a classical Danish chicken broth. The traditional Danish kitchen actually don't contain those kind of very perfumed flavors. It's pretty bland, to say the least. But if you use the right produce, then the taste will be absolutely beautiful. The spices in this is actually just going to be bay leaves, some thyme, some whole black peppercorns. We're not adding salt because we have to reduce it a bit. So the good old thing about not adding salt to things that you're going to reduce, so you just end up with salt, it's also going to count here.
Why do you cut the edges?
Actually, I just cut because I'm lazy. I'm cutting the edges because I'm lazy. I cut the edges because grandmother cut the edges, you know. This is one of the things that the vegetables that we got all year round in Denmark, grown in Denmark, homegrown. It's a good cheese. And it's a celeriac, and it's just one of my all-time favorite vegetables. It's so versatile in all kinds of usage, and one of the base flavors, I might add, to a classical Danish broth for me. Grandmother, she did absolutely peel her celeriac. So we're gonna peel the celeriac. We got our leeks in, and leeks and onions, as different as they might seem, actually are from the same family. Completely normal white onions have a slighter, sweeter taste when you start boiling, preparing on it. So I will add one onion to the soup. I don't know, actually, if my grandmother had added so many things to the broth, maybe she just actually have bought a pre-made bouillon, like a cube. I think she would, actually. I think that Granny, she would have been just getting everything off the shelves and then do as little as possible. And that's just said with the biggest amount of love I could ever think about. We're gonna add some spices anyway. Some of the most grandmothery spices are bay leaves, black peppercorns. I am not sure that Granny would have used first time, but we're gonna hide it behind all the other flavors. So a bit of black pepper, which have been I guess it's been pretty expensive back in the days, because this is you should never forget that Denmark have been good at many things. And one of those things that they were actually pretty good at was trading slaves. And by doing that insanely inhumane thing, they brought home a lot of strange things. And they brought back home a lot of spices. And then in return for that, they gave all the native people around the world a lot of sexual transmitted diseases. Yeah, we're from Denmark. We got this chicken as we know it, and we got the thighs, we got the brown meat, we got the wings in here, we got the backbone, and then, of course, we got the breasts. And for some unknown reason, everybody's going for the breasts. It's leaner, it's easier, there's no bone in it. Yeah, I get it, I get the point. But nevertheless, I think that the breast is actually the most boring part of the chicken. Hell yeah, I just said that. The chicken tits are boring. Actually, my favorite part of meat here is sitting here. Up here is called the oyster. And then there's like the upper wing here. Oh my God, it's so nice. And of course, thigh, all the brown meat, all the brown bits and pieces, you know. You don't want to miss that. So I'm gonna take off the breasts and I'm gonna prepare them separately because all the brown meat and the rest of the carcass, we're gonna boil with all the veg so we get this broth. And then when we have to like put everything together in the filling of the tartlet, the stew, we're gonna add the chicken breast, which we're just gonna poach slightly in the broth that we made, so they are not getting dry. If you are in Denmark and are presented with a tartelet where there's more sauce than meat, and the meat is like stringy, dry chicken breast meat, someone had a strange grandmother. Because that's not the way to do it. You want succulent, you want moist, you want tender breast meat, and you want these flaky brown meat bits all mixed together. And yeah, there's no other way to say it. If you're getting dry chicken meat with a thin sauce in a tartlet, you're just getting cheated. You know, someone is cheating on you, and someone had a very, very strange grandmother. Maybe they didn't have a grandmother, I'm sorry. But now, we're just gonna cut this up. So here we go. And if you're just cooking the breast meat, you will cut the skin further down towards the inside of the thigh, so you get full like skin on. And you will, actually I would prefer to fry, or if you want to do something with the breast, with the bone in. But the bone is gonna give a lot of taste to that broth, so we're gonna separate the breasts from the carcass. And you can be more or less meticulous in how you're gonna do this, but in this way, we're just gonna peel off the skin anyway, because the skin is gonna add a lot of flavor, because it's mainly fat. So we're gonna just take the chicken breasts off and put them here. So we got the 2 chicken breasts with the fillet inside here. That's like, this piece of chicken is really, really boring. This piece inside here is even more boring. So that's like the fillet of the chicken breast, and that's like, people are like, oh, this is the greatest thing of chicken. It doesn't taste like anything. It tastes like chicken. Yeah. So now we got this carcass, and I'm just gonna peel out the small rests of bits and pieces in here. If you were doing like a whole, like totally clear soup, you would be very, very, very meticulous of peeling out and scrubbing out all kinds of blood clots, bits and pieces with blood in, because they will give a strange color. And if there's too much blood in it, if you just boil a whole chicken, there will actually be a slightly bitter taste. I'm cleaning this out because I'm just getting these small pieces of blood, intestines, maybe like when you're butchering birds like this that you get in the supermarket, mostly it's not done in a very gentle way. I think that's the nicest way to say it. It's done in a pretty rough way on machines, and it's difficult to get all the intestines and lungs and the guts. I'm just checking out the guts. This is gonna go to the dishwasher. This I'm just gonna put in the fridge, and we're gonna, for later use. So, hello! And now we're gonna find our vegetable cutting board. Oh, there you are. I got this pot of boiling water, and before I add the veg, I'll just add the chicken, the whole chicken here. And it will eventually be giving off some small impurities from the carcass, and I can skim that off, and then I'll add the vegetables. If I add all the dry spices and the vegetables, when I'm skimming, like taking all these impurities that flows to the top, is like white. It looks like something strange. I'll tend to skim off some of the vegetables also. Right now we're just getting this to a boil, and then we're gonna add the vegetables so I can prepare the vegetables. There's this rule about how fine you want to dice things when you're putting in a broth, and for this, and you used to say that the smaller you cut or dice things up, the more flavor you will draw out of them. So if you're doing a fast broth, slice and dice everything pretty fine. You can do it in a food processor if you want. And if you're doing something that's gonna cook for maybe an hour, a little bit more, cut it in bite-sized pieces or bigger, so they will give off all the good flavors a little bit slower, I guess. And then they will be easier to take out of the broth when you have to pass it through a sieve, because that's what you eventually will do. I actually didn't, I can't remember my grandmother doing a chicken broth ever. Oh my God. Maybe a grandmother lie I invented in my head. But, grandmother did everything herself. Hell fucking no. I don't know if my grandmother would do this, but I'll do this. I'll add a whole piece of garlic to my broth also. And then I'll, of course, do some fresh thyme. So now we're just gonna wait. You can see here how the impurities are getting in the top of the here, all the white stuff, the protein, and I'll have to remove that. So I'm perfectly satisfied with the amount of dirt I took out of this pot, and now I'm gonna add all the vegetables and the dry spices. And then I'm just gonna add on a bit more water, and I'm gonna let this simmer for about an hour. But here we go. Here goes nothing. Chicken broth. The smell of this is really, really, really nice. It's like not like a Thai broth or like a dashi or like a French like totally reduced glaze, demi-glaze. This is just pure, nice, dare to say feminine fragrances that are just like tickling my nose buds and taste buds, my nostrils, my whole body. So I've been standing over this perfume steam for 1.5 hours, and my skin is slowly peeling off my skull. No. But by the magic power of Grayskull, this is now done. The chicken in the broth is boiled, and I'm gonna take out the chicken, and then I'm gonna slowly let the broth boil a little more, simmer, not power boiling. So let's get the animal out of the soup. Actually, you can see how tender this is. This is just like falling off. And all this is just pure goodness. The skin here. In Denmark, there's like, everybody's so afraid of fat. And as it might seem obvious for you guys, I'm not that afraid of fat. I'm a big fan of keeping the fat in when you're doing like broths and bouillons. And you can always, if you really want to reduce the things, you can always skim the fat off in the later in the process. If you're doing a demi-glace or if you're doing a sauce. I don't know if it's possible to see, but right now all the fat, which is actually on the top of the broth, is just boiled off chicken fat. And we definitely want to keep that. We definitely want to have those small pearls of fat bringing the flavor, carrying the flavor further in and onto the white sauce that we're doing to smother the chicken in. Let's go back to, I talked about fat. There's so many countries where this kind of fat is like the most delicious thing in the world, and it would be like a delicacy to just get it. You know, for instance, take the beautiful serving of the Peking duck from China, where the skin actually is a serving all by itself. You know, you can put it on the duck, but you have the best pieces of crispy, almost transparent duck skin just to snack. And in Denmark, there's, I guess there's a bad habit of just shaving all kinds of fat from animals. Now we're going to prepare the vegetables that we're going to put into the two types of tartlets. For the classic tartlet, for the grandmother style tartlet, I'm going to do maybe the fastest preparation of any vegetables in any dish ever. Just stay there, Matt. Done. But that's the reality of it. I'm amazed by the simplicity of the classical tartlet when I have to do it like this, because obviously I never tend to do it just like this. I'm gonna beef it a little bit up. I'm not gonna turn it to 11, but I'm gonna try to get to a point where we add some more flavors. White asparagus. Then get all the peel off here. And when you get up to here, to the head, to the crown, the skin, who is actually just under the crown here, is not that bad to chew on, but you want to get as close to the crown as possible. Yeah. Now we got our asparagus here, and we got the peels, and we're gonna use everything, utilize everything. And for the more modern part, model of the tartlet, we're gonna add carrots, and we're gonna add some parsnip, and we're gonna add some celeriac. It gives a nice crunch. Even more important is that it tastes really, really good. I also wanna put in some mushrooms in my version of the tartlet. It's just plain old button mushrooms, nothing fancy, no kind of porcini, morel. This is just like from the supermarket, plain old button mushrooms. I want to do these in quarters, yeah? Hep, hey. Let's go. So now we're gonna do some small cubes. So if you want to see the grain of it.
Yep.
So fine, but not perfect. We are not discussing the well-being of the gastronomical term petit brunoise, which is a strange French word for very small cubes. I actually never saw my grandmother chop anything other than parsley and onions. Which is... So we want a bit of carrots in as well. Yep. I guess now if the Danish people who actually are watching this and knowing their grandmother's recipe and tarteletter be going like, you fucking kidding me? Disgust me. You should be thrown out of the country and burned. Well, get in line. These vegetables are gonna cook a bit in the broth that I'm using to making the sauce with. And the asparagus, they are such like they're so delicate, so you don't want to boil them. You just still want to have a lot of crunch in the white asparagus when you get the tartlet. But we're still gonna cut them up pretty small chunks. This is the delicacy, the crown of the asparagus. This is like, ooh, it's the good shit. So now we got these vegetables ready. And we're gonna do a little bit of cleaning and then, well, I guess that we could start peeling the chicken. Remember, we still got the breast of the chicken in the fridge because they are gonna be used. We're gonna prepare them separately for the meat that's from the brown meat. So here we got the thighs. Oh my God. If you by any chance have opportunity to go buy a fresh slaughtered free-range chicken from a farm, you should try to do that. And then you should hold it up against what you're getting out of that compared to what you're getting from a commercial chicken that you buy just in the supermarket. There's so much meat in this. It's beautiful. This is the brown meat that we got out of the chicken. Eventually, I'm gonna cut it into a bit smaller pieces, but not that. I really like that you can see actually what you're getting. And now to one of the things that are the most important things in terms of Danish classics. Is the sauce. In Danish, sauce. And sauce is something that you can add a bit of and then, and it would be like a kind of a delicacy. It would be kind of like the thing that binds everything together. But sauce, the Danish word sauce, it means that there's definitely enough and you can smother things in it. You can just like throw it all over the plate and then maybe small mountains of potatoes and boiled meat will turn up in that sea of sauce. This is definitely one of those things. You want all the things that you're putting into a tartelet to be smothered in sauce. You don't want to be cheap with that. No. It's a velouté It's a flour-based sauce. If you are allergic to gluten, you can just use the broth here, and you can use like a cornstarch to thicken it. But as it is for today, we're celebrating grandmother, so we're doing it her way. And her way is by making a roux with equal parts of all-purpose wheat flour, butter, Danish butter, and full-fat milk. And then, of course, the broth from the chicken. That's about it. The Shaolin sauce. Nut. First of all, I'm gonna take a bit of this magical soup. The broth. Fuck you. Here, I'm gonna put that in a smaller pot. And you will see why in a moment. Jesus. Beautiful. This is the peel and the end of the stems from the asparagus. And we definitely don't want to waste those. So we're gonna put them in here. They're gonna give a lot of tastes. This is the end of the celeriac, and this is a bit of parsnip we're gonna put in here. So this is gonna intensify the flavor of these vegetables that we're using in the more modern version of the tartelet. Look at this. Oh my God, look at this. Yeah. And it's gonna be a roux, which means that we're gonna start this up with equal amounts of plain white flour and butter. And that is what's gonna give the thickness of the sauce. Because we got such juicy chicken breasts and meat and very watery white glass asparagus, we're gonna do a sauce which is a little bit thicker. Yeah, sounds crazy, but a little bit thicker than you normally would have a sauce. Because they will throw a bit of water and liquid, and it would just like give the right consistency in the end. And remember, this is not a roux as you would make it if you were actually making some kind of gumbo or a dark sauce. You want this to be as plain and light and white as possible. So already now you can see that it's being a bit brown, and we don't want that. So we want to add the flour pretty fast, because we don't want it to be... A little bit of brown is okay, but I'm gonna have it like this. I'm gonna turn down the heat. So this is the waiting game. And while we're waiting, we can multitask and watch over. This starts getting a bit hotter. And you gotta keep this moving or else it will become brown. So now you can see that the water is boiling out of the butter, and that's actually what's bubbling like this. It's not frying. And that's when you have to be like really attentive to this this baking of the roux. Because it's also here where suddenly it can change color, and then it's not ruined, but that is definitely not what grandmother would have liked. There's a specific smell to this. It smells good. And eventually you will, when you do this enough times, you'll find out that there's a smell where the fat is so hot that it's gonna burn or roast the starch in the roux, and that's where you wanna be. It's like if you're toasting a piece of bread and butter on a pan, that's what you want. And now we're gonna take the... Well, this is maybe gonna be a little bit difficult to watch, but no, wait a minute. We're gonna do it like this. So now we're gonna add some liquid. And we're gonna not pour too much in. So now we're gonna whisk this up, and you see it thickens immediately. You could be a gentleman or gentlewoman and just pass this through a sieve before doing this, but as mentioned before, I'm one lazy kind of guy. The most important part of this is that you get the right consistency, but also that you get all the lumps whisked out of here. The whisk is doing great traces. You got like this shiny, it's a classical sign of that you're doing like a flour-based sauce. It would be the same as if you were doing a bechamel for the lasagna or something like that. Now, we're not gonna use any more of this. So this is full fat, it's a whole milk. Sød milk. Sød actually means sweet in Danish. But it's also full fat. So that's what we're gonna use. And then we're gonna use some of the water from the asparagus in the glass. So add that, don't be shy. And then we're gonna add some milk, a tad bit of milk. And for this now, we're adding some full fat cream. Oh, dear Lord, sweet Jesus, oh my God. So, and actually now, we haven't added any salt, any pepper in it. We're gonna taste as we go along. Here we got the asparagus, peels, stems, all the small bits and parts that were left over from chopping out the vegetables that we need to get in my new wave tartlet. And just to utilize all this water, we will blanch. This is not boiling hardcore, but I will blanch these chicken breasts in here too. Not boiling hard, just blanching. So we are gonna cook them until they're pretty much finished, but they will have to be completely finished and safe to eat by the heat of the white sauce. For now, we're just gonna let it set and we're gonna taste it. I'm gonna taste how much salt we're gonna put in it. And am I evil? Yes, I am. I like salt. Wow, it tastes really, really good already. I can definitely taste all the vegetables from the broth. I can taste the chicken. It's not like banging around, but it's subtle flavors that are definitely there. But it will need salt, and it will need pepper. So let's go with some salt. And then let's go with the pepper. If this was a Saturday lunch at my grandma's, she definitely would have used grounded white pepper. New spoon. Don't misunderstand this, but this is like getting a hug from your grandmother, which has been dead for like 25 years. It's just the white sauce. Wow. Even the strange taste of asparagus from a glass is there and representing in some kind of strange way. I don't know what to say, but I think even the most talented, renowned chefs got something in their taste sense vocabulary that are reminding them of something really, really good. And if they told all their chefy friends about that, they would go, "Oh my God, you're the Antichrist." But I'm not a chefy chef, so I'm allowed to say that. We're gonna do the special sauce. Yeah, we're gonna do the sauce for the new age of tartletting. Now, these chicken breasts are done enough. Let's take these up. Yep. So this would be a pretty good example of me trying to wing it and fucking it up. Because now there's too much flour compared to fat. So I'm gonna add a little more butter. I'm gonna get that out. I saved it. So now we're getting into where we are gonna add some of this completely amazing homemade asparagus stock. Actually, the whole of it. The smell is completely different. It's much more the nutty flavor of the butter, who became a little bit more noisette, which is brown butter. And in this particular sauce, I really, really like that note. Because brown butter, white asparagus, if you just serve that as a dish, maybe a side, just like steamed white asparagus, brown butter, you'll be good to go for a lot of years. So nice. And to this, I will add cream. A nice, not a shy pot of cream. And then a bit of milk. So I'm gonna taste this now without salt. The spectrum of tastes in here are completely different because we have this slightly brown butter and we got this asparagus bouillon broth in here. It's completely different. I'm not afraid to say that. Relax, breathe. 1967 sauce, 1997 sauce. These veg that we chopped up earlier on, which is parsnip, celeriac, carrots, and mushrooms. And here I got a small batch of the rest of the broth that we did, the normal broth, the plain broth. Just gonna boil this up, and then I'm gonna give these things a small blanch. We will add, at last, in the 1997 sauce, we will add the fresh white asparagus in here, finish off with the meat from the chicken. In the classical 1967 sauce, we will chop all of the asparagus from the glass and add those to the white sauce, and then we will add the meat, and that would just be the plain old classic tartlet filling, høns en asparges, which just means chicken in asparagus. Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
That was the cock! Yeah, his name is John. John Cock. And he's the boss. Yeah. I can hear you. John Cock is a feisty cock, but he's really nice. He's also a bit afraid sometimes, but he got a couple of good ladies. Yeah. The broth is boiling, and we've got to add in our veg to give them a small blanch. Yeah, John. We know you're there. All right. So while they are just cooking away, I will chop up some of the chicken meat here. First, we got the brown meat here. The most terrible thing you can serve in Denmark for people is fish with bones in it. People go like you see here, it's like a small bone here. If you serve a fish with bone to Danish people, most of the Danish people will go, are you insane? Are you trying to kill me? No, but actually fish contains bones and they taste better when you prepare them on the bones. No! Actually, some people think that fish, shellfish, they're not allowed to taste of fish and shellfish. So this is the breast that we just blanched. And I don't know if you can see it. It's still pretty moist. I would not say that this is cooked all the way through, but it's gotten enough heat to firm a bit up. And now when we add it to the soup here in a minute, it will be perfect. We're gonna warm up the thing again. So, yeah. Here you can clearly see that it's not cooked all the way through. So, be aware about hygiene. Or don't. These sauces are still hot, so I'm gonna add one half, the one chicken breast, to the 1967 sauce here, and one chicken breast to the 1997 sauce here. And the heat from the hot sauces here will cook everything through. So we can also add the brown meats, one half to the 1997 sauce, and one half to the one half to the 1967 sauce. There we go. So now we're gonna add these blanched, I would say, vegetables to the 1997 sauce. As you might can see here, the sauce is pretty thick in this one. I'm gonna take this out now. I'm gonna add the fresh asparagus. There you go. And now we got the 1997 sauce almost done. It is just a strange smell. When you just have had your face into fresh white asparagus and then you just taste the smell, these is strange. That was how grandmother was liked it. And grandfather. Well, here they are, the tartlet, and they're actually just going into the oven. You don't want to burn these, because if there's one thing that is more terrible than the taste of margarine, it's burnt margarine. So behave. So there you go. Bye-bye. See you in a couple of minutes. There's been like a tradition where you, on different kinds of respectable places who serve tartlets, will finish off the tartlet with a bit of chopped parsley. And it doesn't exactly do anything good for the taste, in my opinion. It looks beautiful, it looks classic. And I think if you add something to the food, it should not just give it something cosmetic. It should be like, give it because it deserves it, and it adds something to the final impression of taste, the final result. And for me, white sauces, chicken, spring, that's still, yeah. I'm gonna add it to the 1997 tartlet filling. Spring is here. Yeah. And now you can actually smell the dill. Does this, for the untrained eye, look appetizing? Well, if I saw it, maybe not. I beg to differ, but dishes like this, stews, like fricassees, they are not the most beautiful things in the world in terms of what the so-called righteous food critics and gastronomy people are thinking. And there's only one thing that I'm sure of, is that they are fucking wrong. Because some of the most beautiful, one of the most heartfelt, one of the most talented dishes do not look like some piece of art. They actually look like a piece of shit. It's time. So the tartlets are done. Ooh. Yeah. Do this as elegant as possible. It's almost not impossible to do elegant, but we want. This is the grandmother filling. Yeah. And it has to like flow over. You have to put a decent amount in. So, and this is the consistency that you want. This is a bit thick, but that's what I like. And what I mean, I've been telling you all the time that don't settle for a thin sauce with like thready, dry chicken breast, pre-boiled chicken breast. It has to be shiny, it has to be thick, it has to be like almost like melted cheese going around. And now we're gonna fill up with the 1997 filling with a lot more vegetables, dill and mushrooms. And yeah. This is a healthy serving of tartlet. This is the best part. Let's taste. We're doing grandmother style first. And now tartlet is crispy, and this is how it looks. I think it's nearly impossible to eat this in an elegant way. But let's taste. nothing whatsoever is sticking out. There's no high notes of anything. There's no like, everything is just like comforting. It's so, it's pretty boring if you not got any kind of relationship to it, I say. But the taste is there, and yeah. So now we're gonna do the 1997 tartlet. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna hit that piece of breast here. It's so juicy. And it's such a great taste of that chicken. Now let's get the whole shebang. The flavor profile is completely different. All the added vegetables, carrots, the parsnips, the celeriac, the mushrooms, the fresh white asparagus, it just changes everything complete. This is so much more the flavor of Danish spring. And the funny thing is that this is my interpretation of it. All kinds of places in Denmark, where you go from the north to the south, to the east to the west, they will have their regional version of this tartlet. Some places they would put in like tiny small meatballs. They will put in shrimps and chicken. It's just a love story, once again. It's something that reminds you of home, and that is what I think home-cooked classics should be. It should remind you of something safe, something homey, something that makes you believe in all the good things in the world, I guess. Matthew, you need to taste also.
Hello, Simon.
Yo, Matthew.
Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome.
All right, so this is your...
This is 1967, and this is 1997.
What one should I start with?
Whatever.
Okay. Grandmother.
I just started with the traditional one.
All right. That melts in your mouth.
It's like pretty easy going.
Okay. Amazing.
You go 1997. You go Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Man, I'm nervous.
Be prepared.
Okay. What just happened?
Yeah, it's just another taste.
It is.
But that's just the spring, Danish spring right now. Yeah. And putting in white, fresh asparagus and the broth that we make from the peels.
Yeah.
I think it adds up to the asparagus experience. And then dill.
Absolutely.
We got dill, bro. See you next episode of Danish Classics, How to Cook.
I need to eat more.
Yeah, I need to eat more too.